There is an entire economy in the guitar industry built around upgrades. Boutique pickups for $400, Mogami cables for $200, CTS potentiometers and switchcraft output jacks, marketed as the secret to better tone. Bone nuts, graphite saddles, and locking tuning machines promising to transform your guitar. The aftermarket parts business probably moves $1 billion a year in North America alone. And a significant portion of that money is spent by players solving problems that do not exist, or chasing improvements that they will not actually hear. The truth is that most guitar upgrades are a waste of money. Not all of them, but most. The ones that matter, that actually transform the playing experience or the recorded tone, are a small list. The ones that drain bank accounts and produce no audible improvement are the rest of the catalog. And the guitar industry has worked very hard to make sure most players cannot tell the difference. Today we are going through the 5 worst guitar upgrades that most players waste money on, the marketing claims, the actual results, and what the upgrade budget should be going toward instead. By the end, you will have a clear filter for evaluating any future upgrade decision, and you will probably save yourself a few $100s on the next round of parts that you do not actually need. Let us start with the most expensive money pit in the entire upgrade world. Mistake 1. Expensive guitar cables. A standard 1/4-inch instrument cable from a music store costs between $15 and $40. A premium boutique cable from a brand like Mogami, Canare, Vovox, or Evidence Audio can cost anywhere from $100 to $400 for an equivalent length. The marketing language around premium cables uses terms like silver-coated copper conductors, low capacitance shielding, oxygen-free copper, and audiophile-grade dielectrics. The actual physics of an instrument cable involves 3 measurable variables. Resistance, which determines how much signal is lost to heat. Capacitance, which determines how much high-frequency content is filtered out by the cable acting as a low-pass filter. And shielding effectiveness, which determines how much external interference gets into the signal. Resistance in any decent guitar cable is low enough to be inaudible. Capacitance varies between cable designs, but the differences are typically smaller than the differences between 2 amplifier settings or 2 pickup heights. Shielding can be a real difference between a cheap cable and a decent cable, but the gap closes completely once you reach the $30 price point. The honest reality is that a $30 cable from a reputable manufacturer performs identically to a $300 boutique cable in any blind listening test. Professional studio engineers have demonstrated this repeatedly. The Mogami and Canare premium pricing is selling the brand, not the audio quality. The cable is one of the worst places to spend upgrade money in the entire signal chain. If your cable works, makes solid contact at both ends, and does not pick up audible interference, it is doing the job. The upgrade money is going somewhere it cannot be heard. Mistake 2. Boutique pickup swaps without addressing the rest of the rig. Pickup swaps are one of the most popular guitar upgrades, and the boutique pickup market has expanded dramatically over the last 15 years. Bare Knuckle, Lawler, Suhr, Fralin, Throwback, McNelly, and dozens of other builders sell hand-wound pickups in the $200 to $400 range, with marketing language about scatter winding, period-correct magnets, and authentic vintage tone. Some of those pickups are genuinely excellent. The problem is that a pickup is one variable in a complex tonal chain. The amp matters more. The speaker matters more. The room matters more. The strings matter more. The player's hands matter more. Swapping a stock factory humbucker for a $400 boutique humbucker while leaving every other variable unchanged will produce a small audible difference at best, and often no audible difference at all. The bigger issue is that most factory pickups in the modern era are surprisingly good. The Fender V-Mod 2 pickups in the American Professional Series, the Gibson 490R and 490T humbuckers in modern Les Pauls, and the PRS 8515 pickups in PRS core guitars are all production pickups that perform at a level which would have required custom shop-only access 20 years ago. Replacing them with boutique alternatives will produce a different tone, but rarely a better one. The pickups that genuinely benefit from upgrading are the cheap ceramic magnet pickups in budget guitars, where the original factory components were obviously cost-engineered. Replacing the stock pickups in a Squier Affinity Stratocaster with even mid-tier alternatives will produce a meaningful improvement. Replacing the stock pickups in a Fender Player 2 Stratocaster will not. Mistake 3. Premium tuning machines on a guitar with a cheap nut. When players experience tuning stability problems, the first upgrade they typically pursue is locking tuning machines from Spurzl, Hipshot, Schaller, or Gotoh. Locking tuners cost between $60 and $150 per set, and the marketing claims focus on improved tuning stability and faster string changes. The reality is that tuning machines are rarely the actual cause of tuning instability. The most common cause is a poorly cut nut, where the string slots have not been filed at the correct angle or width, which causes the strings to bind in the slots during bends and tremolo use. The second most common cause is a tremolo system that is not properly set up, where the springs and the bridge plate are not balanced against the string tension. The third most common cause is the strings themselves, particularly old or fatigued strings that have stretched beyond their useful life. Replacing the tuning machines on a guitar with these underlying problems will not fix the tuning stability issue. The strings will still bind at the nut. The tremolo will still be unstable. The strings will still be old. The new tuning machines will hold the strings firmly at the headstock end, but everything else in the chain will continue to cause the guitar to drift out of tune. The proper diagnostic order for tuning problems is to evaluate the nut first, the bridge second, the strings third, and the tuning machines fourth. The first three are usually the actual issues. By the time you get to the tuning machines, you have probably already solved the problem. Mistake 4. Exotic Tonewood bridges and saddles. The acoustic guitar world in particular is full of premium saddle and nut materials marketed for their tonal benefits. Bone, fossilized ivory, ebony, brass, graphite, tusk, and various proprietary synthetic materials are sold as upgrades over the standard plastic or basic bone parts that ship on most guitars. The actual differences between these materials are smaller than the marketing claims. Bone is denser than plastic and produces a slightly clearer attack and slightly improved sustain. Brass produces a slightly warmer and more compressed tone than bone. Graphite reduces friction during bends and tremolo use, which improves tuning stability. Tusk, a synthetic alternative to bone, performs similarly to bone with greater consistency between units. But all of these differences are small enough to be in the realm of placebo for most listeners. In controlled blind tests, even experienced engineers struggle to identify which saddle material was used in any given recording. The difference is real, but it is dwarfed by string choice, pickup voicing, microphone placement, and room acoustics. If your saddle is plastic and showing visible wear, replacing it with bone or tusk is a defensible upgrade. If your saddle is already bone or a quality synthetic, replacing it with fossilized mammoth ivory will not produce an audible improvement that justifies the cost. If you are finding this helpful, hit subscribe. We cover guitar gear every week so you can play better and spend smarter. Mistake 5. Premium output jacks and potentiometers. The internal electronics of a passive guitar circuit are one of the most over-marketed upgrade categories in the entire industry. CTS potentiometers, switchcraft output jacks, orange drop capacitors, paper and oil capacitors, and various boutique wiring options are sold as essential upgrades for serious players. The reality is that the electrical components inside a guitar are operating at extremely low signal levels and across a very limited frequency range. The amount of signal degradation caused by a stock potentiometer or a stock output jack is small enough to be inaudible to almost any human listener. The capacitor value affects the tone control's frequency response, but the actual capacitor brand and construction has a smaller effect than even the marketing fans claim. Vintage paper and oil capacitors in particular have become a marketing fetish in certain corners of the boutique guitar world. Players spend $30 to $100 on a single capacitor that costs the manufacturer 50 cents to produce. The audible difference, in any controlled comparison, is essentially zero. The capacitor's job is to allow certain frequencies to pass to ground when the tone knob is rolled down. Any reasonable capacitor at the correct value will perform that job identically. Stock components from Asian production guitars are often genuinely lower quality than the components in higher-tier instruments. Replacing them with mid-tier US-made parts is a defensible upgrade for a budget guitar. Replacing already good components with boutique-tier parts is throwing money at a problem that does not exist. So what should the upgrade budget actually go toward? The single most impactful upgrade for almost any guitar is a professional setup by a qualified luthier or guitar tech. A proper setup includes nut filing, fret leveling and crowning, intonation adjustment, action adjustment, and pickup height optimization. The cost is typically between $60 and $150 depending on the work needed, and it transforms the playing experience of almost any guitar more than any parts upgrade. The second most impactful upgrade is pickup height adjustment, which costs nothing. Most factory pickups are set to compromise heights that work acceptably for general playing. Adjusting pickup height for your specific tonal preferences and your specific amp can produce dramatic changes in clarity, output, and overall tonal character. This is a free upgrade that most players never explore. The third most impactful upgrade is strings. Different gauges, different materials, and different brands produce significantly different tonal and feel results. Experimenting with strings is a low-cost way to dial in your sound, and the differences are often more audible than any pickup or capacitor swap. The fourth most impactful upgrade is your pick. Pick thickness, material, and shape affect attack, articulation, and tone in ways that most players do not fully appreciate. Spending $15 on a variety pack of different picks and finding the one that feels right can transform your playing more than a $400 pickup swap. The truth about guitar upgrades is that the marketing is selling improvements that are mostly cosmetic, mostly imagined, or mostly inaudible in real-world use. The upgrades that actually matter are the boring ones: setup work, adjustment, strings, picks, practice time. Before you spend money on any guitar upgrade, ask yourself 3 questions. First, what specific problem am I trying to solve? And is this upgrade actually going to solve it? Second, would a professional setup or a string change accomplish the same thing for less money? Third, am I buying this because it will improve my tone, or because I want to feel like I am doing something to address a problem that might be in my playing rather than in my gear? If you can answer those questions honestly, you will save thousands of dollars over the course of your playing life. And your guitar will probably sound better than the players who keep buying parts they do not need. Drop a comment and tell me which upgrade you most regret buying and which upgrade actually changed the way you play. We have all wasted money on at least one of these.